kind of background. They've been under diaspora, they've been scattered around the world, and they've been trying to recenter to their homeland in Iraq. Unfortunately, they also are fighting ISIS, but when the United States tried to give them guns, the Iraqi government blocked them. The Iraqi government blocked them because they don't want another people group in their state, in their nation, being stronger than they are. The Arabs don't want to have someone else in their group, in their nation, be stronger than they are. And the affirmative team is not changing this under their plan. Their plan is simply to do the exact same thing that the United States tried to do when they tried to arm the Kurds, and that's just simply give the weapons to the people group directly without going to the Iraqi government. Now, why is this an issue? Why can't the United States government just simply give the weapons to the people group? Well, very simply, it's illegal to do so. It's illegal to actually do this under United States law and under the Iraqi government's constitution, and under the Iraqi government's constitution itself. The issue is that the Syrian protection units aren't actually a part of the Iraqi's constitution. There's some group that the Syrians made to defend themselves, and United States law requires us to arm up people group directly. Sometimes we've been able to circumvent this through the CIA, but it was something that the United States should not stand for. We should not break our own laws. The affirmative team is not changing this. That brings us to our second solvency point. Solvency point 2, incapable to fight. Solvency point 2, incapable to fight. The affirmative team says there's about 35,000 or 3,000 Nineveh Protection Unit troops that are already armed, and about 500 that are being trained in the process to fight ISIS. Now, in cross-examination, we clarified that we're giving weapons to the Assyrians. The affirmative team is giving weapons to the Assyrians, both to protect themselves and due to their strategic location in Iraq and Assyria, so that we're assuming that they want the Assyrians actually to do something against ISIS. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. You see, in order to arm a group, we have to have some historical precedence of success. Just because someone's in a strategic location, that doesn't give us the warrant to give them high-powered weaponry in order to do their job. That doesn't give us the warrant to give them high-powered weaponry in order to do their job. The Syrian rebels, for example, had 1 or 2 examples of success, but then they continue to fail. The issue is we have to see a long-standing act of success when we actually, in order for us to give them millions upon millions of dollars worth of weapons to prove their ability to fight. And 35,000 troops isn't a whole lot. Let me give you an example. A few months ago, when the ISIS first began their offensive push, they took the city of Mosul. Mosul is a city in Iraq where 52,000 Iraqi troops and police force were guarding the city. Less than half of the number of ISIS troops, less than 52,000, far less than 52,000 troops, took the city, and the Iraqi army could do absolutely nothing about it. Why? Because they didn't have a historical precedence of success. They didn't have a historical precedence of success. They weren't really battle ready. They didn't have the experience and the will to actually do the fight. There were several things that they were lacking that the affirmative team has not presented that the Assyrians actually have the ability to do so. Just like the Iraqi government ran away when they far outnumbered and had far superior weapons, so too do the Assyrians. It's not just because they have guns, it's because they also are inexperienced and don't have the capacity to fight ISIS. They're just too small. My third solvency point, is the issue of funding. Their funding was rather vague. It just said that Congress shall ensure that there are enough funds and resources to complete the job. And then when they said where we're getting the funding is we're going to end maintenance of unused government buildings. Now, once again, I'd like to bring about the fact that if we were to stop the maintenance of unused government buildings, very simply, this is once again a non-topical reform. The affirmative team is stretching way outside the resolution and changing the way the United States administers our policy towards our own unused government buildings to get our funding. This is once again a non-topical reform, and it's just allowing Congress to decide however much money they need without giving specific guidelines, and they're failing their job of prima facie. We don't know what we're debating. They aren't actually showing to the face, is what that Latin translation means. We aren't providing an actual debate. Now, my fourth solvency point is that of history. Historically speaking, almost every single time we've armed a group in the past, with about maybe 1 or 2 examples, they've always turned around and used their guns against us. Sometimes in the Middle East, the enemy of your enemy is your friend, but more often than not, the enemy of your enemy is still your enemy. Thank you.